Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, and today I'm going to be giving you a somewhat late review of Logan, the newest installation into the X-Men franchise. So let's just get right to it with the story. The story is set in 2029. Logan is an old man. He's really aging, I guess, because his healing factor is diminishing. And he's taking care of even more elderly Charles Xavier, and they come across a little girl who is very special, and she's being hunted down by these men in black cars and stuff. And so Logan decides to help her and take her to Canada, where she will be safe. And violence ensues because this is an R-rated movie. So that's basically the story. Let's move on to characters. Obviously, I'm going to talk about, we're talking about Logan, so let's start with Logan. Sorry, I'm tired. This is the beginning of my spring break, and I'm just worn out from school and stuff. Who cares? Oh, excuse me. Okay. Who? Characters, we start with Logan. Logan is, it's interesting because it's still Logan, still the performance of Logan, obviously. It's the same character that we've seen for 17 years. But it's interesting because he's older and he's almost a bit more mellow, but he's still, tough. Kind of a good example of this is that there will be scenes where he's, asleep, and someone will come in. And normally, in the older X-Men movies, Logan would, he would jolt awake, and he would, get out his claws and, like an animal, he's ready to attack. But in this one, he just wakes up like an old man. So it's interesting to see how sort of the years have kind of worn on him, and he's tired, he's getting old, and so it's interesting, even though it's still the same character. Other characters, Professor X. Professor X is going through stuff in this movie, and it's interesting to see him go through this. He's almost kind of losing control of his powers. And basically Logan is trying to help him not, lose complete control of his powers. And it's interesting to see this character who in the other movies, he has complete control of his powers, and, he's the wise man in the room. But this time, he's being taken care of and trying to keep his powers in check. And so that's really interesting. The girl, I'm not really going to give away who she is from the comics, but if you watch the trailer, you'll see. So she's interesting. For most of the movie, she's silent. She doesn't have any dialogue. And it's interesting. And there's not too much to say about her. I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's been a while since I've done I'm not used to these sort of scriptless reviews anymore. Or unscripted, I should say. Yeah, it's an interesting character to kind of watch her. I suppose, like Logan, it's kind of an animal-like character, like younger Logan, because, she's very quiet, just kind of keeps to herself, but when she's in danger, she does, she does attack like Logan would. She just doesn't have the mouth that Logan had when he was younger. So, it's interesting. I probably gave away, just in that I probably gave away, who she is, but whatever. Other than that, there's the supporting cast. The villain is good. if you saw my trailer reaction to Logan, you'll know that I said that I was hoping that the villain would be like comedically Southern, and he's not. He just has a Southern accent. Oh, excuse me. Other than that, there's another character that helps out Logan through the beginning of the movie, and he's okay. He kind of questions Logan and what he's doing, but he is interesting for the most part. And other than that, there's not really a whole lot to say about the characters. So we're gonna move on to cinematography and special effects. Technically, I guess there's not a lot of special effects, but cinematography we'll talk about, and cinematography is really good. I guess there's nothing really special about this photography, if that makes any sense. Like, there's no, like, you know, really artsy shots or anything, or really stylistic shots. It's just shot like a movie, which is good. The action scenes are shot really well. You can see what's going on. There's not a lot of shaky cam. Or if there is, it really didn't distract from the movie. So cinematography is good. Again, special effects is not a whole lot to talk about. Yeah, not really. So, and that's that. We're going to move on to music and sound. There's not a lot to talk about here. The music and sound is really good, but there's not a whole lot to... Again, there's not a whole lot that's like, you know, that you'll remember. It's just done well, you know? It's like, it's not trying to like... This is really weird to say, but it's not trying to like revolutionize music or whatever, if that makes any sense. Like if you hear like Hans Zimmer, if you hear like one of his soundtracks for like Man of Steel or The Lone Ranger or stuff, it's like he's really giving it his all, trying to really be noticed in his music, I suppose, is kind of how you would say that. Here, it's just music, and it works. The only thing about the music is that it gets I don't know, maybe a little noticeable in the final fight. I was kind of questioning the theme, like, okay, is this like the theme of the movie, like the theme song, or I don't know. It really didn't distract that much, but I didn't notice it. So maybe that's something to say. It's really not a critique on the movie. So okay. Oh, excuse me. Jump scare count? No jump scares, really. There generally aren't jump scares in X-Men movies. Again, unless it's like Logan, if he's asleep and he wakes up and he busts out the claws and is like ready to attack things. There's none of that really. Movie length. The movie length is 2 hours and 20 minutes. It got a little bit long, but it was still good. The pacing was really good, and I didn't really feel uncomfortable in my chair. Not a lot, so I think that's good. Because generally, I judge if a movie length is good or not by if I get uncomfortable in my movie theater seat. So that's pretty much that. No after credits scene. I stayed through the whole thing. Nothing. Just, yeah, not really much to talk about there. And I don't really want to go into spoilers, but I'll just give my final thoughts now. It was really good, really solid. It's not a fun movie, but it's still good. You can probably gather from the trailers, it's a depressing movie. Probably the most fun about it was the Deadpool teaser at the beginning. Well, not at the beginning, but just before the movie started, they showed the Deadpool teaser, and that was funny because Deadpool's funny. Great observations there. But yeah, it's not a fun movie, but it's a good movie, and it's really well written, and it's a good sort of sign-off to the character, because this is Hugh Jackman's last movie as Logan. And in that, it really works. Not really complaints I can give about the movie. There were a couple questions like, okay, how did all the mutants die off? How many mutants were still alive? Because obviously there are some mutants that live in this, but how did that work? And like, the whole plot of the movie is they're going to Canada to try to find a safe haven. Who runs this safe haven? Is it real? Or stuff like that. It'll keep you questioning some things, but it's not really that bad. Some of these questions are answered, some of them are not. I'm not really going to go into which questions, though. But yeah, it was really solid. I'm not going to give it a ranking. I'm done with rankings. But yeah, it was good. It was not, I don't know, like, amongst the X-Men movies, I don't know where I would rank it. I mean, pretty high, but I mean, my favorite X-Men movie is Days of Future Past, and I probably wouldn't put it above that, but it is pretty close. So, that's pretty much my final thoughts on that. Short review, but hey, isn't that nice? I thought I'd never be able to do a short review ever again. So, the end cards are popping up right about now. You know what to do with those. You can follow 7th Hour Films on Twitter, at 7th Hour Films. It should say over here. And that's pretty much it. I'm Alex from the 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.